Words are powerful. They can inspire, deceive, comfort, or mislead. But what happens when eloquence is used to distort truth rather than to uphold it? Surah Ash-Shu, the Poets, the 26th chapter of the Quran, confronts this very question. In a world where poetry and rhetoric were celebrated as the highest form of art, the Quran revealed itself not as mere poetry, but as divine truth. This surah is a reminder that eloquence without truth is empty, while the voices of the prophets, even when rejected, carry eternal weight. Today, we explore the wisdom of Surah Ash-Shu, where prophetic voices rise above false eloquence, teaching us about resilience, clarity, and the enduring power of truth. Surah Ash-Shu consists of 227 verses and is filled with narratives of past prophets. It recounts the struggles of Noah, Abraham, Moses, Hud, Salih, Lot, Shu'aib, and others, all of whom faced rejection by their people. Yet, despite repeated denial, they remained steadfast, trusting in God's promise. The surah culminates in a reflection on poets and their influence, contrasting those who mislead with words and those whose speech is guided by faith and sincerity. By weaving together stories and reflections, the surah provides a criterion for understanding the difference between truth spoken by prophets and false eloquence spread by deceivers. Each prophetic story in Ash-Shu follows a familiar pattern. A messenger is sent with clear signs and guidance. The people, often blinded by pride or attachment to worldly life, reject the message. They accuse the prophets of being liars, magicians, or impostors. Yet the prophets remain patient, reminding their people that they seek no reward for their mission, only the fulfillment of God's command. These stories are not simply historical accounts. They are moral lessons showing that truth is not always popular and that rejection is part of the prophetic journey. In pre-Islamic Arabia, poets were seen as cultural leaders. Their verses could stir emotions, shape reputations, and influence society. But Surah Ash-Shu questions this authority. It warns against poets who wander aimlessly, saying what they do not practice and leading people astray with their words. Eloquence, when divorced from truth, becomes dangerous. It entertains but does not enlighten. It impresses but does not guide. This critique remains relevant today, reminding us that charisma and eloquence must be measured against sincerity, morality, and truth. Against this backdrop, the surah elevates the voices of the prophets. Unlike the poets who sought fame, wealth, or influence, the prophets spoke only out of devotion to God. Their words were not self-serving. They were anchored in divine revelation. Even when their messages were unpopular, they remained steadfast. The contrast between prophets and false poets highlights a timeless lesson. Authenticity matters more than popularity. Prophetic voices carry authority because they are rooted in truth, while false eloquence fades with time. Surah Ash-Shu itself is proof of divine eloquence. The Quran demonstrates unmatched beauty in language, rhythm, and structure, yet its purpose goes beyond aesthetics. It is not poetry for entertainment. It is revelation for guidance. The surah invites us to reflect on this difference. While poets may impress with creativity, the Quran transforms hearts and societies. This transformation is the true mark of divine speech. The surah makes clear that the Quran stands as the ultimate voice of truth, surpassing human eloquence in both form and function. The message of Ash-Shu extends beyond ancient Arabia. In today's world, we are surrounded by words, news, advertisements, speeches, social media. Eloquence is everywhere. But not all eloquence carries truth. Just as people once followed poets without discernment, we may find ourselves influenced by voices that entertain but mislead, that attract but lack substance. The Surah Ash-Shu teaches us to be discerning listeners. We must ask, does this voice lead us closer to truth, justice, and sincerity, or does it merely entertain and distract? The surah closes with a hopeful reminder: not all poets are condemned. Those who believe, do righteous deeds, remember God often, and defend truth with their words are exceptions. In this way, eloquence becomes a tool for good when guided by sincerity and faith. The prophetic model shows us that speech must be aligned with action, and that the true purpose of words is to uplift, guide, and inspire. Surah Ash-Shu is a timeless reminder that not all words carry the same weight. Eloquence without truth is fleeting, but prophetic voices, grounded in sincerity and divine guidance, endure across generations. In a world filled with noise and persuasion, this surah invites us to listen more carefully, to seek out voices of authenticity, integrity, and faith. It challenges us to use our own words responsibly, ensuring that they reflect truth, inspire good, and align with our deepest values. Prophetic voices stand as beacons in a world of false eloquence, showing us that truth, no matter how resisted, always shines through.